noticed, and we've noticed it all, is that when a conflict that you are observing, whether you are personally involved in it or observing it from a distance, when you're in the middle of contemplating it, you are launching preferences. But most humans do not become a vibrational match to their preferences. They remain a vibrational match to the condition that caused the preference to be born. So when we talk about withdrawing your attention from conditions that make you feel uncomfortable, that makes people like you want to come forward and say, but how can we help if we are not aware of the problems? And we agree to that to this extent. Your attention to the problem is creating a global solution. Mass consciousness, with all of its involvement in war and all of its awareness of war, in all of its awareness of poverty and awareness of starvation and awareness of plagues, have launched rockets of desire collectively. But as individuals, you rarely become a vibrational match to what you've launched because you're so enamored with focusing upon what is. The conditions have got you hogtied to the degree that as humans, you spend almost all of your time focused on conditions and evaluating the rightness or the wrongness of them and the degree of goodness and badness of them, which is just such an utter easy first step. You ought to be way, way past that by now. This is the way it works. Let's say that it's just you and another guy, and you think this and he thinks that, and you want a solution and he wants a solution, and source, universe, law of attraction, whatever you want to call this universal energy, is aware of what both want, because both have a vortex and the solution for both is in their vortex. But this one, instead of being a match to what's in his vortex, is instead pushing against you. So not a vibrational match to what he wants. The other one, instead of being a match to what's in his vortex, instead pushes against you. So neither one are a vibrational match to the solution that they have created, and both are blaming the other for not receiving the solution, when both could receive a solution that would be completely satisfying to them individually. It's the belief that for me to get what I want, you have to give something that you want up. That's the flawed premise. That's not true, that's not true, that's not true. That's because you have little piles of spoils that you are quibbling over instead of universal, infinite expansion. That's like saying, oh, here's the economy. It's this many billions of dollars or trillions of dollars. It's this many pieces of something. This is the economy. And the rich guys are getting too much of their fair share. And so you pinch yourself off from your share because you're too worried about what that guy's getting. It's like dividing the pie up and saying, he's getting too much of the pie and the rest of us aren't getting enough of the pie. And we say, you could be creating bigger pies. You could be creating more pies. But you're not creating more pies. You're quibbling over the spoils of this one paltry, puny little pie. Because you're not using the energy that creates worlds. You're squabbling over things that are disconnecting you from your true power. When you need anybody else to understand it in order for you to feel good, you're in trouble. So what we're saying is, so let's say you're standing as an individual and you're watching the news of the world and you're seeing all these things that you don't want to be the case. And let's say that you're not even taking sides with who's right and who's wrong. You just see it as a big mess and a lot of people suffering, and you would like it to be different than that. You want different conditions. So you've launched all these rockets of desire and all these rockets of desire, but you, like almost everybody else, you don't even come close to being a vibrational match to what you've asked Source for, even though Source has the ability to yield it all to you. You don't even come close to it because you've got your eye so much on the condition. You're taking score so much. You're aware of it not working out. You hold yourself in vibrational accord with the problems. And so even though you and billions of others for generations longer than we can even speak about have created a vortex of well-being that is available to anyone who allows themselves to be a vibrational match to it. So you finally realize that You can't change those conditions. You can't even get the ear of the United Nations. You can't even get a senator of the United States of America to answer your letter. You can't even get a hearing in the White House. You can't even get anybody who has the ability to do anything. Esther was in a meeting room last week, and she could not even get high enough in the authority of the meeting room to make them understand that she could get 474 people in this room. In other words, they said, no, this room won't hold 474 people. And Esther said, the sign on the wall says that it will. And they said, yeah, but it won't. And Esther said, but the sign on the wall said that it will. And they said, yeah, but your stage is too big and you're taking up too much room. And so the solution was they opened the air wall and they moved everything back 10 feet. And then they had enough room for everything. But Esther knew that they were completely unreasonable. But she could not find a person under those conditions with enough authority to be reasonable. You can't find enough people with enough authority to be reasonable. You have to give it up. If your happiness depends upon somebody else being reasonable, you're in big trouble. But you as an individual, we've been saying this for a long time, you have the ability to find happiness in the midst of all of that discord. And when you are someone who is willing to find happiness in the midst of all of that discord, then maybe others will follow suit. Maybe they won't, but you've done the only thing that you can do. You've found happiness in the midst of all of that discord, you see.
I get it.
You revere masters who talk about these things, but they seem like just singular individuals who struggle against a mass consciousness that doesn't get it. And we want you to understand that mass consciousness that doesn't get it is creating something that eventually will, for example, in every moment, old ornery ones are croaking and new allowing ones are being born. So the ratio of allowing is improving and improving and improving. And while there will always be things about your existing what is that you would like to be different, what is becoming is always an improvement. The evolution of all species says that it must be. So if you can just not be impatient, and you can find your happiness now because you can, and you cannot feel guilty. You see, this is the conversation that we had before is really about what we're talking about here. What right do you have to be happy in a world that is full of turmoil? And we say, if you need the world to not be full of turmoil before you can be happy, you're not ever going to be happy, because this is a absolute given intention from non-physical. You intended to come in your differences for the expansion of the whole. None of you said, I will be born into physical, but before I get there, clean it all up. Get it all worked out. And then I will go and I will observe a peaceful world. That's not what you said. You said, I will move into this world of variety, and I will come to my own personal preferences, and I will align with my preferences, and I will live happily ever after. And the preferences perceived, received by others will not be the basis by which I allow my alignment. Are you hearing us? Seth, you know about Seth? Seth told Rob and Jane, and Jerry and Esther, especially Jerry, devoured those books later on, that you create your own reality. Those were the words that Jane coined in response to what Seth was transmitting to her. You create your own reality. And today, we would like to say to you that, yes, indeed, you create your own reality. But there's a word that we would like to insert that will make it easier for you to understand. You create your perception of reality. You create your perspective of reality. You create your vibrational ability to see reality. You realize reality based upon what you are doing vibrationally. So, have you ever watched a documentary, or have you ever been in the experience yourself where you were an eyewitness to something that someone else was an eyewitness to? And since you were an eyewitness to it, you have a perspective of what happened. And as you explain your perspective, you're sure you're right because you saw what you saw. You perceived it. And then someone else explained what they saw, and what they saw was something different than what you saw. And you're sure they're lying. Because what you saw is very valid and real to you. If there is anything that we would like to present to you in a way and find enough analogies and examples to help you really get it, something that would serve you better than all other things put together that you will ever hear from us or anyone else, it would be that your perspective is uniquely yours. And if you could give up your determination to explain yourself in different ways to get other people to see it the way you see it, oh, life would begin being sweet for you right now. If you could just accept that everybody gets to create their version of reality and that you will waste your life in trying to get them to accept your version. Because the life that they've lived and the vibration that they're offering is the reason that they see it as they see it. You can live in the same community and have two very different lives. And what most of you say is, well, of course we live different lives. That guy lives in a mansion and I don't. Of course his perspective is different than mine. That guy inherited money from his daddy and I didn't. Of course we have different perspectives. That person was born da. As you try to explain why you are not all living the same, you miss the only point that matters. You have different perceptions of reality over which you have complete control. But most humans do not exercise any control over your perception of reality because you're so busy dividing and defining and cataloging and pigeonholing reality into different piles and placing judgment upon it. Oh, that's a bad thing. Let's put all those bad things over there and those bad things over there, and they're different in their badness, but they're bad things. And as you spend that natural time defining whether you want it or not, you also, without meaning to, practice the vibrational frequency of the very things that you put in the bad piles. And then, because it's part of your vibration, it prevents you from discovering the good piles because your vibration's all wrapped up in what's in the bad piles. And then, we love you so much. You know what's coming next after that statement. And then, you look to something outside of you to make the difference. You look for someone else to fix it. It started with your mother or your father or someone up close to you. Please change this condition. There is a condition in my reality that I see that I don't like. And when I look at that condition, I feel bad. And I don't want to feel bad. That's the first thing you knew about yourself. You don't like feeling bad. So when you're looking at a condition and you feel bad, and you associate feeling bad with that condition, then of course it's logical, we get it, why you want that condition to change. But you are not the boss of those conditions. You are not the creator of someone else's reality. You cannot control the conditions. You are the creator of your own reality. You have been sifting and sorting, and in the process, you've been launching these rockets of desires. And in the process, you've created a vibrational version of the reality that you are seeking. Now, we want you to understand that to you, it's a future version of a reality that you are looking for. But to us, it's an existing reality that you've already carved out that does exist. Can you hear the difference in that? When you want more money, you become vibrationally more prosperous. And even though you doubt it and you don't let it flow into your experience, you have become a more vibrationally prosperous being. So we began talking to you about this vortex. It's a vibrational reality that existed in part before you even came into this physical body, and that you've been adding to vibrationally ever since. And so for a while, we talked about it for quite a while with you. We wrote a whole book about getting into the vortex, being a vibrational match to the vibrational reality that is you. And after a while of listening to us, you were very kind and nice and patient with us as you were watching Esther wave her arm around about this place that you can't really see, while Abraham insisted that this is a vortex of creation and that everything you want is in there. And if you could just look more carefully, you could see it, that this is the vibration, this is the vortex, and you want to get in there, and you say, oh, okay. I don't actually see anything now that I'm in there. And then we said, of course, you don't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it, because that's all about the manifested version. In other words, the vibrational reality is, hear this, We're only going to say it to you 1,000,000 times. The vibrational version of it is, oh, we can't wait to tell you, and yet we want to let there be enough suspense that you remember when we do.